Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Sports this morning. It's a very beautiful Thursday morning, and this is the midweek experience on the show. My name is Toyin Ibitoye. Yemari Bayo is my partner on the program this morning. I was almost saying Karim Benzema.
Maybe because of his performance last
night. All right, we'll talk about that later on the show. Of course, Real Madrid getting a very good result in the UEFA Champions League, and Solomon Kalou also getting a good goal for Chelsea away from home. That's UEFA Champions League.
Funny you should mention Benzema, because it was both hero and villain yesterday. He missed the goal. A lot of people started screaming Yakubu.
But then he got two beautiful goals.
Yeah, he made it better. Got two beautiful goals.
And Kaká was also in the mix for Real Madrid yesterday. So I think it's looking very good for Madrid. I can safely say that they are through to the semi-finals. Chelsea, yes, look good as well, but maybe still some work to do in the return leg. But that's the UEFA Champions League. We'll talk about that later on the program this morning. We will also talk about today's games, because I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to today's games, particularly the game at the San Siro, AC Milan and Barcelona. We'll talk about that as well on the program this morning. On sports this morning also, we'll talk about the Eagles, we'll talk about the Girls, the Falconets, the Flamingos. Of course, we will preview the Nigerian Premier League. There are games today, there are games tomorrow. We'll talk about those games, and we will also talk basketball, because the DStv Premier Basketball League is really hotting up. We've played 5 weeks, and some games were played yesterday. We'll give you the results of those games as well. We'll look at the papers. Well, very lean on the papers this morning. Yesterday we didn't even have the papers at all. Today we have about 2, but we'll try to do justice to those 2 and hope that they will just fill in with that segment of the show. And as we wrap up, we'll take you to South America, bring you something from the Argentine League. We talked about the Argentine League a couple of days ago. The passion, the way the people come to watch their games is just an epitome of the passion in the average South American when it comes to the round leather game. So that's going to be the setting this morning on the show. And once again, I want to apologize to you for calling you Karim Benzema. But I'm sure you wouldn't mind. He was an Arsenal player. And Arsenal was still in the Champions League.
I don't
Also, FA Cup games yesterday. We will try to touch upon the FA Cup games as well. We're down now to the final 4 teams in the FA Cup. And the 2 semi-final games are more or less like finals in themselves. So those are things that you should look out for on the program this morning. Let's start off with the Eagles, Yemi. I think yesterday we talked about the fact that this is the best we've seen in terms of playing friendly games in a long, long while. We should give them credit, because, you know, a lot of them accuse us that we just love to criticize and criticize. No, it's not that we just love to criticize, and that if they put us there, we may not even do as well as they've done.
Yeah.
They have a point in that. But one thing we cannot take away from the NFF board, this present board, Aminu Migeri board, is that they are well organized when it comes to the friendly games that the Eagles are playing. Home-based Eagles have a game against Egypt, April 12th. There's a game against Peru, also on the lineup. There's another one against Iran.
In the pipeline.
Then later on in the year, a game in Abuja against the big former world champions. We've not seen this in a long time.
Yeah, in spite of the many flaws of the NFF.
Of course.
It must be said.
Yes.
In spite of their many flaws, when it comes to this, thumbs up, they're doing a good job. They have changed from times past where a coach just sits for 6 months, does nothing. Now you're keeping them busy, and you could actually believe them if they are telling us that we're trying to build a new team. And, you know, they're choosing the friendlies carefully. I mean, that's one thing I like, choosing the friendlies carefully. There seems to be a path that we're towing now, and the direction is clear.
And this is crucial
as far as the Super Eagles is concerned. On so many other issues, well, they would receive knocks for that. But for the Super Eagles, for the national team, they seem to be taking just one step at a time, using the FIFA free days, and, you know, working in tandem with the coach, and everything going smooth, going well. So kudos to them for that, and I hope that they can continue, and I hope that they can take care of issues that will stop them from doing their work, because one has to remember all those. So I think it's a good one.
All right, so we must give them credit, and we hope that Stephen Keshi will take full advantage of all of these opportunities. Egypt on the 12th of April, Peru is also somewhere on the cards. And then yesterday we just heard about Iran.
Yeah.
But let's also tell them that in the bid to play games, we can't play all friendly games.
You just
can't.
You just can't.
I mean, when I heard about Iran, I looked at that region and I said, well, it depends on what they're bringing to the table. How safe?
Unless of course, you're going to be prosecuting some of this game with different set of players, which is quite possible.
Yeah, because there's also the danger of overloading the team. But I think it's a good one if we can allow these home-based players. It's a fantastic opportunity. You are building a strong national team.
Yes.
You are helping to build the league. You are preparing a team for the home-based Nations Cup. It's just good. It's just good.
You're like killing
4 birds with one stone.
with one stone. That's
fantastic.
It's good.
It's fantastic. If they can keep it up and keep this momentum going, I think the sky will not even be the limit. It will just be the start point for Stephen Keshi. And unfortunately for Keshi, he's wanted to go on break in a long time. The break isn't coming, but that's the sacrifice he has to pay.
You want the job, you get the job.
You get the job.
Do the job.
Do the job. All right. After the results, then you can probably go on a good break. All right, let's talk about the girls now. Our girls, the Flamingos over the weekend, qualify for the World Cup, but this weekend the Falconets are the ones that will be busy.
Yeah.
And for the Falconets, the story yesterday is that they have arrived in Abeokuta, looking forward to this weekend's game against Zimbabwe. So we've been to every FIFA Under-20 World Cup. It looks like we can do this again. I'm not worried about the Falconets
qualifications here
because this team has a lot of Super Falcons players in it.
Experience.
So Zimbabwe shouldn't be a worry.
Experience in large quantity. And you know, Abeokuta has been a good hunting ground. We must say that. Anytime our girls play there, we just load our opponents.
With plenty of goals.
Yes. And so, my problem always is, are we able to translate the dominance in Africa to the global stage?
Last time we got to the finals, lost 2-0 to the host.
Yeah.
Most of those girls are still there.
And it brings to the fore my problem with female football. Skill and technique probably not lacking, but the technical input from the bench, like for instance,
could be the difference between winning a game
some
and
of the
losing
games. Some of the games yesterday, you saw both coaches, Chelsea coach, Real Madrid coach, made some changes, and you could feel the direct impact. You would know that someone was on the bench, probably watching.
You have to understand that you're talking about the men's game,
Okay.
and the men's game has been on for a very long time.
But we've seen
the women's game may not exactly be in that same.
We see it with this world-class female teams. I mean, I still look at the game Nigeria-France in the Women's World Cup, and I feel games like that, on the strength of how good our girls are, we shouldn't be losing to teams like France. Germany, I will understand. United States, Korea, China, but not France.
I agree with you. We need to improve on the coaching.
Yes.
For the women.
Yeah.
We've not even improved the coaching for the men.
For the men.
So we need to do a lot for our coaches.
For me, I think the gap has been drastically reduced.
Okay.
And the only area where we are lacking is
that input from the bench.
I'm not questioning their acumen, but I feel they need to do more.
A lot more.
Work on some areas. You know, if you don't concede goals, cheap goals, if you don't concede cheap goals, you're still in it. And when you get a goal, it counts. If you stop your opponent from scoring and you get your goal, it counts. And even if you're not able to score, at least don't concede goals that just shows tactical naivety.
All right, so that's a challenge for the Nigerian Football Federation. Training of coaches for the women's team, and also training of coaches for the men's team. And maybe that's why that CAF course currently going on in Abuja is coming handy. But that's from CAF. The NFF should also do a lot to send these coaches on training, train them,
especially those on national jobs.
National team coaches, train and retrain, and keep them updated, because coaching is so dynamic. Things are changing so fast. They need to be updated on a regular basis. Let's go to Abeokuta now and allow those of you. Yesterday we couldn't bring this to you, but we're going to be doing that for you. How the Flamingos took out their Zambian opponents last Saturday. right, so that's for the girls. The Flamingos convincing win over Zambia. And we're also wishing the Falconets all the best of luck as they take on Zimbabwe this weekend. They should do better than these ones have done. These ones won 5-0. And nothing says you can't win a game by as much as 7-8 and put God's fear in the heart of your opponents, well, so that they may even call up the return leg. All right, just wish them the best of luck anyway.
I reserve my comments.
Okay, let's go to the next part of sports this morning. I think it's for us to check out the papers now. Let's check out the papers and find out what the papers are for us this morning. Unfortunately, we can't take too many papers on the program this morning. We just have the complete sports and international soccer. So if we are ready with the papers, let's go on. And it starts with this piece of good news for me. Chinedu Obasi, fantastic player, good technical ability, good skill, but then it's been done in by injuries. But the good news is that it's moved to Schalke 04 permanent. Schalke 04 splash 5 million euros on Obasi. Bundesliga side take up option of signing Nigerian forward permanent from Offenheim. You can read up the details of all of that. Fantastic news for Chinedu Obasi. Victor Moses boost for Wigan. Victor Moses is going to be ready for games in the English Premier League, and will be available this weekend for Wigan in their battle against the drop. Pompey Boss appeals to Kanu to cancel his contract. Kanu hasn't played for him in months, and he feels that Kanu is not just part of his plan. All right, so you can get
facing financial problems,
and they are facing a lot of problems, so they want to shed some weight. Espanyol, summer move for Shone Aluko. Omashone Aluko is there. You can read up the story as well. Had a good game for Rangers over the weekend. Apala makes Ebony Golden Shoe award list. That's a good one for fringe Super Eagles player Joseph Apala. Nobody's even talking about him in the Eagles anymore. Eagles seek April 18 Iran friendly. We talked about it. A lot of friendly games on the cards. We've been playing many games, and it's fantastic for the rebuilding process of Stephen Keshi. NFF, OK, Eagles, Egypt, April 12 friendly. So there's a possibility they play Egypt April 12, then they move to play Iran. The home-based players are just getting the chance of their life.
And they are not complaining.
And I hope they take the opportunity. NFF said to confirm Saint Faith Obu today. That's what we already know that Saint Faith
was just a matter of time.
And I think the earlier they do this, the better. And of course, we're also waiting for the confirmation of Kadri Kana as the coach of the women's team, the Falcons. That should also be done today, so that these guys can immediately get down to work. And,
or maybe the dissenting voices is still affecting them.
But I'm sorry, let them do it as quickly as possible so that work can start. The next one and the last one for review on the program this morning is international soccer. San Siro showdown. It's meltdown time in the UEFA Champions League, and AC Milan against Barca. What a game that will be. Milan-Barca set to rock Europe to its foundation in no-holds-barred battle at the Stadio Giuseppe Meazza. That's the story. You can get all of that. International soccer. Inter sack Ranieri. That's easily one of the coaches with the highest number of sack letters.
Dismissals.
Claudio Ranieri, gentleman, but then maybe not just getting the results. And you can see the preview of some other games as well on the front page of the international soccer today. So all eyes, of course, will be on the UEFA Champions League. I'm sure you can get a copy of this paper and read up all that it has to offer. Let's come home, hear me, and look at our own problems. The Nigerian Premier League enters week 17 this midweek. There will be games today, there will be games tomorrow in the Nigerian Premier League, and we hope that these games will be devoid of controversy, beating up of referees.
We have not sorted out the ones we have on ground, so at least
let's not add new ones, because some of the cases of week 2, week 1 have not been attended to by the organizing disciplinary committee. So let's not increase the number of cases on the waiting list. Let's look at the fixtures now on your screen. Lobby Stars will be taking on Kaduna United. That should be in Katsina Allah. That's where they still play their games, and unfortunately nobody has been able to go there for a live broadcast, because that stadium is just not what you want to see on TV. Wiki Tories will be taking on Enyimba, as in Bauchi. Kano Pillars against Sunshine. This was the last game of last season. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere in Kano, and Sunshine will be playing this game tomorrow. Jigawa will be welcoming Tornadoes of Mina. Jigawa languishing at the bottom. Tornado somewhere in the middle of the log, so promises to be an exciting game as well. Ocean Boys will welcome Abubakar Bukola Saraki. Don't forget, Abubakar Bukola Saraki are on a roll. 7 games
dramatic
turnaround for them in the season.
I would love to see their games. They've been doing so well of late, and it has reflected on their position.
They were bottom of the log. Now they are in the middle of the log.
They even went away and got some results on the bounce.
7 games unbeaten. Yes. Fantastic for Abubakar Bukola Saraki. Aqua United against Atland will be on Thursday. That will be at the Uyo Township Stadium. It has been approved by the Nigerian Premier League. So that's where that game will be played. We have Warri Wolves against Gombe in Warri Township Stadium on Thursday. 3SC against Kwara. Massive game in Ibadan in this one. Sharks against Rangers. Another big game. And then Rising Stars against Dolphins in Ado Ekiti. These are the fixtures. Yemi, very quickly, let's pick out the star game. Maybe 3SC against Kwara. Used to be sort of a derby in those days, but now Shooting Stars are not really the kind of glittering stars that they used to be. And then Sharks against Rangers, another good game that will be up this week, this midweek.
I think Kano Pillars Sunshine for me, that's a top game, a massive one. I would love to see how Sunshine react from the
4-1 loss
on the continent and Kano Pillars. I want to see how they play. Last season, both teams were. I love the way Kano Pillars play. I don't know, maybe I'm carried away with the jerseys or something, and the way their fans troop out to the stadium. So that for me stands out. Standout game. A lot of the other interesting games. I love to see ABS, Ocean Boys ABS as well, because of the way ABS has been playing this season. They've forgotten about all their problems, because it looked to me like they were a problematic team. You know, they were talking about their players being the ones that were getting the lowest amount in the league. So many other issues, but we seem not to be hearing that anymore. Just hearing good things about them, no problems, and they've been getting good results, and I hope it continues for them, for the sake of their supporters. I hope it continues. So those 2 games stand out for me.
All right, so let's move away from the Nigerian Premier League. Of course, if you join us later tonight, we'll be giving you the results and be telling you about some of the scorers from Week 17 games in the Nigerian Premier League. Let's go talk basketball very quickly, and the DSTV Premier Basketball League. There were games played yesterday. We talked about this yesterday morning. Royal Opals in Port Harcourt, completely whitewashed Union Bank. 31 points game it was. They beat Union Bank 82 to 51 points. So that's a convincing win for Royal Opals. And then the Down Warriors also completely washed out Chariots. The Warriors rode on the Chariots, really. 90 to 57. It was a blowout. So that's a good win for the Down Warriors. Gap. Yeah, that's a massive win for the Down Warriors and Royal Opals in the games played yesterday in the DSTV Premier Basketball League. We'll continue to update you with all of these. Week 6 will be played this weekend. We'll tell you all about that before the end of the week. Time for us to move from home, go abroad, go to what you've been waiting for, UEFA Champions League. Before we do that, talk about the massive game to be played today at the San Siro. Let's once again remind you of how Barcelona got to this stage of the UEFA Champions League. We'll go for that. We'll come back. We'll talk about games played yesterday. We'll preview the games to be played today. And, of course, talk FA Cup as well.
Here's Sanchez, and very nearly got through to Messi. Super sliding challenge from Schwab. Messi, 2 running onto this one. Alexis looks like he wants to take it. He does, and he scores. A first Champions League goal for Alexis Sanchez, and Bayer Leverkusen breached just before half-time.
What a pass. Messi, brilliant pass. Alexis Sanchez did the rest.
And Barca being given something to think about here. Over the top by Renato Augusto. Here's Choluka. Good ball into attack, and they've scored! Michael Cadlets directs his header into the Barcelona goal. Bayer Leverkusen 1, Barcelona 1. And here's Alexis Sanchez in again here, round the keeper and scores. They weren't back in it for long, and Alexis Sanchez at the double for the champions.
We spoke about trying to keep things really narrow and not allowing Barcelona to play the ball from middle of the field into inside right, inside left areas, and that's exactly what Leverkusen don't let.
3 minutes they were level, now they trail again. Rolfes definitely positioned himself much farther up the pitch this second half. Augusto trying to get it through, could open up for him, saved by Valdez. A real game has broken out here in Germany. Schürrle, Rolfes, Bender, Schürrle. This could just come into the path of Gonzalo Castro. So close to a second.
Oh, he's unlucky. He's absolutely bulleted that. He's got great contact. And we spoke about Victor Valdez being good with his feet. He got a fingertip to that to make sure it was deflected onto the post.
Oh. Messi finds the gap where there wasn't one. Oh, and comes back off the post. A moment of sheer delight from the little fella.
Oh, brilliant. Dink, can I get it in? A ball, turning, curling, dipping down. Get your head on it. He does. Good save, Alves.
Glanced in by Sanchez and denied a hat-trick by a super save from young Bernd Leno. Messi, Reinhardt's all over him. And still he goes, Messi gets it through to Alves. Dani Alves fires it across and it's turned in by Lionel Messi. What an extraordinary ball to set up Messi, and the little fella...
The biggest challenge for Milan today will be to keep that little man quiet. But who can keep the little man quiet?
You can keep the little man quiet and still lose the game. So I think the challenge...
There are a lot of little men in the team.
Yeah, a lot of little men in the team. But, you know, just another classic example of Messi magic. And if he's able to do that in a game, Barcelona won't lose. But I think, you know, Milan have their work cut out. Thiago Silva is not going to be playing this game. And that, for me, is key. Because, you know, the key thing is how Barcelona are able to stop, how Milan are able to stop Barcelona from playing. They will boss possession, that is clear.
Okay, from yesterday's results, Apple Nicosia, we talked about at the beginning of the show, losing 3-0 to Real Madrid. Benzema with a double, Kaká with one, Solomon Kalou helping Chelsea to 1-0 away win over Benfica. And today, Marseille against Bayern, massive game for Marseille. And then AC Milan against Barcelona, we talked about that game a lot. So these are the games lined up for today in the UEFA Champions League.
I think the games from yesterday, I give kudos to both coaches, Roberto Di Matteo and Jose Mourinho. The changes, the 3-0 scoreline looked flattering. They made Real Madrid work
for it.
They really worked for it.
It took 77 minutes or thereabouts before they got the first goal.
Kaká came on, Marcelo came on, and those two guys changed. They just killed it. They changed the game. And for Chelsea as well, when Frank Lampard came on in and they made some changes, they were able to get the goal. Although you could sense from the Chelsea perspective that they would have been happy with a draw. They weren't.
But once the chance for a win came through,
they tried to get it. They were not ambitious. They just stuck to their guns, made sure that they didn't concede that away goal, and probably were leaving it off to do at the Stamford Bridge. But they were able to get that goal, and it puts them in a very, very good position to go into the semi-final. But on the strength of what Benfica did yesterday, I don't think it will be a stroll in the park. I think it's still all to play for. If you can beat them 1-0 at home, they can as well come Stamford
Bridge, beat you 2-1
and still qualify.
Yeah.
And for the games today. The home teams had better win their games. That's just what I feel. The home team had better win their games.
Yesterday was the day for the away teams.
Yeah.
Will today be the day for the home teams? We'll find out at the end of 90 minutes later tonight. But let's talk about the FA Cup in England. Yesterday we had FA Cup games played. Of course, you remember the Tottenham Hotspur Bolton game.
For the incident
that happened where Fabrice slumped. Thankfully, is back now, is a lot better. But then the replay yesterday, Tottenham Hotspur, no mercy at all. They took out Bolton Wanderers 3-1. And then Everton, they didn't do the job at home. They had to do the job the hard way. They beat Sunderland 2-0 away from home. And the semi-finals, massive games. Everton against Liverpool, a massive side derby in that one. And then London derby, Tottenham against Chelsea. Doesn't get any bigger, any better than what you have in the FA Cup right now.
And at this stage, all teams are Premiership teams. It's going to look like a Premiership game. And it's going to be very interesting. I thought Sunderland were going to take their advantage against Everton, but you just couldn't do it on the night. Then Tottenham were ruthless against Bolton. 3 goals, and Bolton were able to get one. But Tottenham showing us that the crash,
probably form in the league
and halt, and halt has come, because playing against Bolton and getting 3 goals counts for something. So we'll look forward to the semi-finals. Interesting fixtures, interesting games. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so that's how I have to wrap it up on the program.